The following is a production of Stevenson Media. H-Town, what it do? I am Nick Stevenson, the president of Houston Sports. He is Ruben Calvillo, Mr. 713. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 26 of the Twin Toros podcast here on ESPN Houston YouTube channel. Want to remind you guys that we also do videos on Ruben's channel, 713 Houston Sports. If you're not following or subscribed to 713 Houston Sports, all you got to do is type it up in that search bar, but I will leave his link tree in the description. And you can find me on Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. We both appreciate all of you so much for rocking with us, for supporting us. Ruben, I'm so glad we get to do this show after a Houston Texans win. And not only do the Houston Texans win a game versus the Miami Dolphins, but thanks to the Colts losing their game, the Houston Texans are back-to-back AFC South champions.
Let's go.
I want to know, first of all, how you feel about just the game, the win against the Dolphins, 20-12, and then we'll get on to what winning the division this early in the season now, what it's going to mean for the remaining 3 games. But how you feeling about the win versus the Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, I've been the main one saying that this is a big game, and if they do win, which they did, I would say this was a big win for the Houston Texans. Heading into this game, the Miami Dolphins were winners of 4 out of their last 5. The one that they lost was in the snow against Green Bay. Their offense had been clicking. I think Tua was 15 touchdowns and 1 turnover over his last, ever since being back from his head injury.
Yep.
The Houston Texans defense just shut that down yesterday. This is a big win for the Houston Texans. You beat a hot Miami Dolphins team that was in conversations for the wild card. You kind of killed their playoff dreams at the moment. And then, just the cherry on top, you get the AFC South crown. Indianapolis, what are we doing here? Well, I mean, they try to run a, something little special, little crazy, right? A pass from wide receiver A.D. Mitchell, throws it back to Anthony Richardson. Defensive end Nick Bonito takes it to the house. I mean, Houston
that play
Texans
was a snapshot.
Back.
Yeah.
AFC South.
I'm sorry. That play was like a snapshot of their entire season, bro. And just the way that franchise is headed. We'll get plenty of chance to talk about them in the offseason. I
feel good, man. I feel good. I'm excited. We talked about how if the Houston Texans wanted to change how people thought about them, then they need to be playing some good football. And, they did that on the defensive side of the ball. You get a good win, and you win one of these 2, either KC or Baltimore, man, and we are talking about this Houston Texans team potentially making some noise come postseason.
So I do want to talk about that. Let's first of all, I'm not going to rain on your parade, but okay. I'm very happy that the Texans won the game 20-12. It's difficult to say this because it was only an 8-point game, but I feel like it was a rather convincing win. Yeah, because of what they accomplished on the defensive side of the ball. However, your offense was only able to muster up 181 yards of offense. Mm-hmm. You only ran the ball for 77 yards, and half of that was a fake punt run by Daria Gumbawale. We've talked so many times about how this offense has put the Houston Texans in a position where the defense had to be perfect in order to win. And I would say in this game, the defense was damn near perfect. Now, I don't want to go like too much hyperbole, but Kalen Bullock is that dude. Like, he is him, bro. Derek Stingley is him. And Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., this defense, in my opinion, man, is just a couple of players away from being a historically good defense. I'm talking 85 Bears, 2000 Ravens. They're just a couple of pieces away from being a really, really dominant, true shutdown defense.
They just need everyone healthy, man. We haven't played one game yet at 100%.
That's true. That's true. And that's assuming everything else stays the same. That's assuming you get Azeez back and your linebacking core continues to play the way they've been playing. The rest of your secondary continues to ball out. I mean, I'm so happy with this defense. But the offense, I don't know about you, Ruben. I was not impressed. Yes, CJ Stroud did not turn the ball over. He had 2 touchdown passes to Nico. Nico had a really good game. But I was hoping for a little, what would I call it? A rejuvenated offense coming out of the bye. And I don't think we saw that. What about you?
No, we didn't. But what we talked about heading into this game was that they made a change at the offensive line. So, with that change, we saw some moments from this offensive line where CJ Stroud wasn't touched. I mean, wasn't even remotely touched. In terms of pass blocking, this might have been one of your best performances all season. And that's saying a lot. And you saw when CJ had time to operate, he was able to make some key throws. I think we're talking about, the offense a little bit different if John Mechie completes that pass and walks it into the end zone. That's, 40 yards added to CJ Stroud's total. And maybe we're talking about a different game from this Houston Texan offense. I definitely felt like this offense didn't lose you the game. I feel like they did just enough
for sure
so that this defense can lock it down. And maybe this is the way going forward. Maybe let's stop hoping, stop praying, because we've been talking about the offense waking up, and it just hasn't yet. Now, they bought some time with the new offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
But now, we're just going to expect them to give us 20 to 20-something points and hope that the defense can shut them down. And we have confidence that the defense can shut down anyone.
I am so glad that you said that, Ruben, because there's a question that I want to ask you in regards to the fact that now the Houston Texans have clinched their division.
Yeah.
There's a chance they could still surpass the Steelers and or the Ravens, whoever comes out to be on top in that division. So the Texans still could get the 3 seed. But no matter what, whether they're the 3 or the 4, their second game, if they win their home game, their wild card game, is going to be on the road. There's not a chance that they can host a second game. They're not going to catch Buffalo. Obviously, they're not going to catch Kansas City. So what do you prioritize now in these next 3 games? Because let's keep it real. Beating the Chiefs or the Ravens in the regular season now pretty much means absolutely nothing. And you've already said that you don't think the offense is going to be anything different than what it is now. So now
I don't think beating either of those two mean nothing.
When it comes to standings and your position in the playoffs, it doesn't mean anything.
We're talking about changing the identity of what people think about you. So in your terms of standings, absolutely. These games don't mean nothing.
Right.
But in terms of trying to convince the NFL world, still even convince the city of Houston that you can beat some of the good teams, these 2 games are very important, and they're very important to the other teams also.
But at what cost? And that's what I wanted to ask you. Because you want to prove you can beat the Chiefs and the Ravens in the regular season, and I say beating them in the regular season doesn't matter. Beating them in the postseason matters. So if CJ Stroud tears his ACL because you're trying to beat the Ravens in the regular season, now that's a whole different conversation, right? Like, where do you start to prioritize health? Because your playoff positioning is not changing.
CJ Stroud.
Maybe I'm not saying rest him for 3 games, but at what point do you start prioritizing health in the next 3 games? Do you wait till the Titans game?
Conversation for them. Me personally, man, the only player who I would think about resting is Joe Mixon, and that's just because of the hip drop tackle that wasn't called. Other than that, this offense hasn't played well enough to deserve a rest.
I agree with you.
You have a brand new offensive line. So, no, I don't think, resting your players is, smart going forward when we are still, once again, asking for this offense to wake up. And with the new offensive line, with players coming back, you cannot afford on the offensive side of the ball to rest anyone because you have not played a full quarters of football yet.
Okay. So you want them to prioritize trying to get this offense right in the next 3 games heading into the playoffs over possibly risking, though, while you're doing that, you do risk maybe there's more injuries that happen to key players on your team. I just wanted to know how you felt about it. To me, I feel like it's not such a cut and dry answer. I'm not saying yes, for sure, you absolutely start resting everybody now, because I think there is something important about playing well headed into the postseason, not being rusty. And I think you do still have an opportunity to hopefully figure some things out on offense. it's a tough task asking the Texans to figure that out versus the Chiefs and the Ravens. Now, we've talked about the Ravens defense. We think it's a little bit gettable. But for me, man, we already talked about how many games they're playing in such a short amount of time. It's a risky proposition, man, because you definitely want to be healthy going into the postseason. And if you're not going to advance your postseason position at all, even if you win out, you're not really going to advance no matter what. Your second game, your divisional game is going to be on the road, either in Kansas City or in Buffalo. How much are you really playing for at this point as far as your positioning in the playoffs? And
so you're leaning more to resting players because that's what you sound like.
I don't think they should rest them during the Kansas City game. Maybe start thinking about it depending on what happens in the Kansas City game. Maybe start thinking about doing it in the Ravens game.
But to your logic, to what you just told me, if these games don't mean nothing to you standing wise, then why even throw them out there?
Well, because like I said, I think there is still importance of having a rhythm going into the playoffs. Okay. I think if you sit everybody for 3 weeks, that's gonna suck. Like, you don't want to sit everybody for 3 weeks. There is some importance there. My question is at what point? Is it after the Chiefs game? Is it after the Ravens game? Do you sit everybody for the Titans?
I would do it for the Titans.
If you're getting blown out by the Ravens, like in the first half, do you decide, hey, man, we're just going to rest everybody in the second half? That's all I'm asking. I'm just asking the question. I don't really know for certain where that line should be drawn. I just know it's something that I think the Texans need to think about.
We're just not in a position to be resting players, man, when we still haven't figured out anything on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay, so, what about defensive players?
I mean, who do you want to sit out?
I mean, how devastating would it be if Will Anderson Jr. tore his ACL?
Why are you wishing injuries on our players?
I'm not wishing anything on anybody, but this is a brutal sport. We just saw what happened. They just carried a dude off in a stretcher, like fully immobilized in the last game we watched. All I'm saying is, at what point do you start prioritizing your health in the postseason versus 3 honestly meaningless games at this point when it comes to the standings? That's the only question I'm asking.
I just feel like you're contradicting yourself, man.
I'm not contradicting myself.
Yeah, a little bit.
In the standings, these games mean nothing. I understand to your morale for Houston Texans fans to feel good about the team. Yeah, you want to see them go beat Kansas City and you want to see them go beat the Ravens. But at what cost, man? Are you wanting to see that? At what cost? Because I'd rather them beat them in the playoffs than in the regular season.
Football.
Of course. But all I'm saying, I'd rather see them healthy and beat those teams in the postseason rather than see them winning, week 15, 16. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
So who do you want to rest?
I don't know that I want to rest anyone. I'm saying I think it is something that the Texans need to be thinking about. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Because we've already said it doesn't matter what their regular season record is. If they don't win 2 games in the playoffs, then this season is a failure. And I'm telling you, if you lose somebody really, really important, you're not going to win 2 games in the playoffs. And then, it's always a shoulda, coulda, woulda. Maybe you don't play scared and you just go play the games and you play all 3 games and you play them as hard as you can and you try to win and you take what comes. That's cool. But all I'm saying is somebody's going to be calling for D'Amico's head if somebody major gets injured in these next 3 games and we don't have them in the playoffs. Somebody's going to be calling for D'Amico to be fired. It's just going to happen.
Okay.
So it's a conversation I think needs to be had. For me, I say play it game by game.
That's fair.
If you're getting blown out by Kansas City at halftime, I might think about sitting people in the second half. It depends on, you know what I mean? And I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Texans will be competitive because of this defense.
I just blown out all year.
I just don't, except for Minnesota. Yeah. And I don't think it's going to happen, man. I'm not trying to be scared, bro, but I don't want to see nobody get hurt.
Sounds like it. And if you're not scared, don't come outside. But the fact of the matter is, look, this is a different conversation if we're the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills.
Of course.
Bro, we're still being considered pretenders, and you're talking about resting players? Like, not saying you.
Yeah, but I don't mean rest them because we're good.
The notion to me is dumb. Like, it really is. Unless you're the 1st seed or the 2nd seed, but you can't be the 4th seed and talking about resting people.
Or if you have a chance to move up to one of those seeds, which the Texans do not. They're not going to improve their position at all in the next 3 games.
I feel you, but I just feel like, I mean, like I said, the way my offense has been playing, I
Yeah.
can't afford to sit anyone because what would
Right.
them do? Take away time from them trying to gel together.
I feel you. And once you make that decision, then you got to stick with it. So if they're going to play them, then play them. And I'm like I said, I can see both sides of the story. I just wanted to know where's that moment in time in the next 3 games.
And like
remember,
you said, game by game is like, okay,
yeah.
you beat Kansas City. Okay, let's say, Lord forbid, knock on wood, you lose Kansas City. You're still trying against Baltimore, right or wrong?
For sure, yeah.
Okay, I think if you win one of these 2, let's say week 18 against Tennessee, you rest some of the key guys. I don't think you rest anyone on the offensive line. If there's anyone that needs rest, I just think it is Joe Mixon because of the hip drop tackle.
Of course.
That's about
it. And he's had a lot of carries this season too.
Maybe Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
But because your tight end room is so banged up. But outside of that,
what about Nico?
You're just not playing good football enough, to be giving a week off.
No,
you're just not.
No, I understand. It would be a different type of rest.
Let's play devil's advocate, right?
Okay.
Oh, we lost this player. We're gonna say, oh, well, why did we rest our people when we still are horrible in quarters 3 and 4, and we could have used that time to gel together? Like, I see both sides of the conversation,
for sure.
man. We're just not, my opinion, we're not at any liberty, dude, to be resting people.
So then let's see them play. I'm with you. Honestly, I don't have a problem with them doing it one way or the other. You know how it is. Everybody's reactionary.
I don't. And
if you sat them and then you lose your first, I
wouldn't be mad. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would say, okay, that's fine, but you better figure it out, or I'm gonna come back to this point and say, look at what you did and how it hindered you.
Let's say you sit players for the Ravens and to the Titans, and then the Texans lose the first round game. You're gonna be pissed off.
I'm gonna be pissed
You'll
off.
be really pissed off.
Do any YouTube channels,
but you might also be pissed off if almost did it. If CJ Stroud, you might be pissed off if CJ Stroud breaks his leg or something too. So,
bro, what's up with the major injuries from you? ACL, bro. Say something else. Like, give me a shoulder, right? Give me.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm nervous because the division is won.
You're scared and playing.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared, but that's true. That's true. I don't want them to play scared. Like, if you're on the field, you better keep your head on a swivel and play to play. But I don't know, man. I just feel like if some major injury happens, people are at least going to be asking the question, well, why were they playing in the first place? But
you think the Steelers are resting people?
No, the Steelers haven't won their division, though. The Ravens can still win the division. So they're in a situation where they can't rest. And that's my only point. Obviously Kansas City can rest.
Dude, possibly. We'll just look really dumb. I'm sorry. We will.
No,
can you imagine throwing Davis Mills out there on Christmas against the Baltimore Ravens? Are you serious?
Yeah, that'd be trash. Nobody would even watch that.
Bro, okay.
But that's also going to be the 3rd game in 10 days, bro. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Who? And stop wishing that,
I'm not wishing it.
I'm going to go to the studio. I'm going to have Sage, and I'm going to just go around it. Listen, brother, at the end of the day, we're playing football.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to arrest Pat Mahomes the rest of the way?
Well, it depends on what's up with his ankle. Is he for sure playing in a couple of days?
How many times have we heard about him having an ankle injury towards the end of the year?
All the time. I get it. I get it. And so I don't want them to sit him. I want him to play.
If you're Kansas City and you haven't been playing good football at all year,
right?
At this point right now, you think they're going to bench him?
Only if he's hurt. If he's able to play, if he's injured, I'm sorry, he'll play hurt. But if he's injured, obviously they'll sit him. But if he's just hurting, I think he'll still play. But they're taking a risk too.
Sunday,
yeah, for sure.
So,
and I'm not gonna feel bad if the Texans beat the Chiefs with or without him. Honestly,
I'm gonna feel some type of way if we beat Carson Wentz, dude, and not.
No, you'll feel some type of way if we lose to Carson Wentz.
And if I get that, then yeah, bench everyone else, against Baltimore and Tennessee. But
yeah, man, it's just it's something to think about, man.
I see both sides, bro, and both sides but both sides are just a slippery slope either way.
Yeah.
So let's just pray that we win these games and walk out healthy, man.
Absolutely. But from your point of view, I know what you're saying and I get it. Bobby Slowick, at this point, I feel like is auditioning for his job next year. And he might need 3 games of everybody healthy and playing to earn his way back next season. We've talked about him extensively this season. I told you I had a dark horse to replace him next season. You brought up Kyle Shanahan. A report just came out today. Kyle Shanahan's not going anywhere, according to the reports, and that's understandable. Who else did you bring up?
My number one, because in my
I was
opinion,
not impressed with his offense, bro.
And I don't know why you weren't. You look at his offensive line without his 2 tackles, and bro,
that's fair.
They made an emphasis on getting the ball out quick,
and also Tua threw 2 really bad passes.
Yeah, now
that's not on McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels, ladies and gentlemen, is who I want calling plays for CJ Stroud next year. I think he is a bright young offensive mind. Maybe he's not a head coach right now, but he is a damn good play caller. And I think him and DeMeco Ryans, they have, history together. They were once here together at the same time.
Right.
I would love Mike McDaniels calling plays next year for CJ Stroud. And you know what? I'll be the first one to eat crow if he sucks.
Yeah. Because you've been going to bat for this dude, bro.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. But I've been high on McDaniels for the last couple of years. And I think if he gets fired by the Miami Dolphins, there's a good shot. And if we decide to move away from Bobby Slowick, I think there's a good shot. If he doesn't get a head coaching job, he becomes an OC. You talk about the way, last year, Tyreek Hill at one point, they were talking about him being an MVP.
Yeah.
Tua was slinging the ball everywhere.
Yeah.
And this year, Jonnu Smith looks like a top tight end in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he knows how to get people open. And the only thing is, when you dig into it, he just can't beat good teams. Right. I think he's like 2-11.
They've only won 2 games on the road this year. Like, they've been terrible on the road. So I get it though, but like you said, maybe he's an OC and not a head coach.
That's my guy.
Let's assume that they're gonna run it back with him one more year. All right. And we know Kyle Shanahan. Miami? Yeah, let's assume Miami's gonna run it back one more year. And we know Kyle Shanahan's not going nowhere. I got one for you, bro.
Tell me.
I got one for you. Tell me how you would feel if they move on from Bobby Slowick and all of a sudden you get a Twitter notification and it says the Houston Texans have hired Gary Kubiak as their offensive coordinator for the 2025 Houston Texans season. Now, I know he said he wouldn't do it last year because somebody asked him when he was on the radio. But Gary Kubiak could be to DeMeco Ryans what Wade Phillips was to him. And that was the person who put him over the top back in 2011. The Texans had a great offense and their defense sucked for years because they didn't have a real coordinator in there. How would you feel about Gary Kubiak coming back on the sidelines for the Houston Texans to be the offensive coordinator of this team?
Look, I wouldn't mind that whatsoever, but what's the likeliness of that happening? I think the chances are slim to none. This is a Super Bowl winning head coach, a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator as well. I don't think Gary Kubiak comes out of retirement, man. Has there been any buzz about anyone asking him or anything like that?
When DeMeco got the job, everybody was asking him, and I think DeMeco already had a staff, and he kind of deflected the question.
What about Clint, his son?
Or Clint? He's in Minnesota, right?
Let me see. I think he was with.
Clint is in. Clint's in Minnesota. I don't think he might be a head coach next year, bro.
Nah, relax.
He might. Wait, is he in Minnesota? Or
no, he's
in the New Orleans.
The Saints, bro.
He's in New Orleans. Okay, I was gonna say because he was hot for the first 2 games because New Orleans was kicking
They're
tail.
Putting up 40.
Yeah, but I guess he's kind of fallen off since then. Maybe I want Gary, bro. Gerard Johnson.
You're just that's why you want Gary.
Man, I think it would be cool, bro. And it's not just because I'm old. I think it would be cool because, dude, Gary Kubiak wanted nothing more than to win a. He's 72.
Get out of here, yeah,
bro. But
enjoy
come on, man.
bro.
We've seen other people come back in their 70s. Who's the dude who was defensive coordinator for the Steelers forever before he finally retired?
Dick LeBeau.
Yeah, Dick LeBeau. Like, we've seen old guys come back. Wade Phillips was, he was old when he was coaching. Listen, man, that's just the sentiment in me. You
thought you were gonna hit me with some heat, man. You hit me with a Gary Kubiak.
Come on, man. You know how bad Gary wanted to win a Super Bowl for the Texans?
And he won it with the Broncos.
I know, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Well, with our exact coaching staff.
Exactly.
With Joe Dreesen, Shiloh Ko, who else?
The other tight end, Owen Daniels. Yep. Oh, man. I'm telling you, bro. He would want to redeem himself from that.
I just don't see it happening. Maybe
probably
a Clint Kubiak, maybe someone from the Sean McVay tree. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. We've been trying to emulate the Shanahan system for a while. Maybe a new system could potentially be at play.
Somebody with some experience, bro. That's what we don't have right now, right?
Landry Locker, he brought up Josh McCown. I don't know, but something has, it's
we're playing games with Bobby's job, bro.
His offense sucks.
It's terrible. It's awful,
it's
bro.
It's not sexy. It's like they make it so hard on themselves. Like, let's look at the first drive, 3rd and 1. You went a real wild route instead of just running it up the gut with Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, dude, now if it works, we're like, oh my God, what a gutsy play. But it didn't. And you had
kind of like that stupid halfback pass against the Jets.
Oh my God,
bro. So this is what I'm saying though. Like, you were giving props to the O-line earlier, and even D'Amico in 2 press conferences was giving props to the O-line. And I'm like, is he watching the same O-line I'm watching? I guess it was better than it has been, but that is a very low bar to clear.
And that's the thing, the bar is low, bro. The bar is low.
CJ got sacked 3 times, and you rushed for 77 yards. And like I said, half of that was on a fake punt that wasn't even your offensive line that was out there blocking for that. So, I mean, I guess it was better because he didn't get sacked 8 times. But, man, like, it's just bad, bro. And like you said, the way they're going to win games is on defense. And thank goodness this defense, that's the one thing that I said. The defense out of the bye got better because they had to be perfect to beat the Dolphins, and they were damn near perfect. So I'm happy about that. I'm excited about the Chiefs game, though, man. I want Mahomes to be there. I don't want to have the excuse of
want him out there.
Yeah,
and I want him out there. Exercise the demons, man.
For sure.
Like, oh.
I'm so sick of the Chiefs, bro. I'm sick of the Chiefs. And I'm telling you, man, if we don't get the Ravens this year, I don't know when we're going to get them. So let's get them this year.
Lamar Jackson, when it's all sitting down, bro, we're going to have conversations about Lamar being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, man.
I'm telling you.
He's already a 2-time MVP. At one point this year, we were talking about him being the MVP. And if Josh Allen wasn't so special this year, it might go back to Lamar Jackson. But
for sure.
But also why we want to win these 2 games, right, is because of who you're playing against, the type of caliber, those teams that you can be. So we're here in the toughest stretch of our season. So
all I'm saying is
left to be done.
If you put a gun to my head and said, hey, what would you rather have? The Texans beat Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in the regular season, but get hurt, or they go into the playoffs healthy and they beat them in the postseason.
I mean, obviously, even without a gun, I mean, I would take that any day of the week. But we don't live in a world of hypotheticals. We live in a world of what's in front of us, right?
I mean,
I can easily say, what if you lose against Kansas City because you rested the people, and hey, you still lost in the postseason because you can like that's what I'm saying, bro. Like the argument goes both ways.
For sure. All I know is, man, I wish I could hit a fast forward button to get to these games, bro. I can't wait to watch them.
Enjoy the little moments, man. I really am, dude.
I feel you.
Sometimes in life, man, people pass up on their small wins and pray and just hope for the very big one. And sometimes the big one doesn't come, right? So I posted an Instagram reel about, celebrating the division win. And someone was like, why if we've been here before? And it's just like, okay, well, if we've been here before, and how the ending's going to turn up, then why even watch it?
Yeah.
Enjoy the little things. Back-to-back AFC South champions.
Ask the Jaguars and the Titans why you should appreciate winning.
And then, and people act like we weren't like the bottom of the barrel just 2 years ago.
Right, 100%.
Right? 7 wins in 3 years.
Ruben remembers. You were doing daily Houston Texans content, catching L's, bro.
Yeah, don't ever talk to me about fandom with this team because they affect me 365.
Yeah. Man, I'm looking forward to the games. I can't wait to watch them. Can't wait to talk about them with you, my friend, and the rest of the Houston Texans fans. Guys, we want to thank you once again for supporting us here on ESPN Houston's YouTube channel. Don't forget, we will be doing a preview to the Texans versus Chiefs on 713 Houston Sports. That is Ruben's channel. If you have yet to subscribe to that, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe now. Hit that notification bell. Make sure you don't miss that episode. We'll be doing that on Friday before the game. And then we'll see you back here on ESPN next Tuesday, 7:30, hopefully celebrating another Houston Texans dub against the Kansas City Chiefs, who I don't remember the last time they beat the Chiefs. I think Castle was the quarterback in Kansas City last time the Texans beat the Chiefs.
No,
it feels like
Pat Mahomes. Come on, president of Houston Sports.
Wait. When did we beat Pat?
Come on, president of Houston Sports.
When did we beat Pat?
Bro, we beat them with Deshaun Watson and Carlos Hyde. Remember?
Yes. Okay.
President of Houston Sports, guys.
My bad. I forgot about
impeachment.
We can follow those articles if you need to. I forgot about that game. That was a regular season game, though. I want to win in the postseason. I'm ready. I apologize, my friend. But like I said, I'm looking forward to the game. Looking forward to breaking it down with you on 713 Houston Sports. Guys, I want to remind you, if you check the description of this video that you're watching or the audio that you're listening to, I have a link in there to our tip jar if you guys are enjoying our banter that we do back and forth and you're enjoying the show of us talking about your Houston Texans. You can leave us a little something. Anytime you leave us some change, we will appreciate it. It'll go back into this show so that we can continue bringing you awesome Houston Texans content. All right. I like giving you the floor before we leave, Ruben, because you know how to get the city hype. Give the people something that's going to get them hype about this Kansas City Chiefs game coming up.
Okay, bet. But first off, let me just say, shout out to you, bro. This was a fun episode. I love the convo by deciding whether or not to sit players, man, because it's an actual thing, that people are talking about in the discourse.
For sure.
But this Saturday for the Chiefs game, me, Houston Stressins, the lead, and AD from H-Town Rundown will be at Tejas Brewery. It's going to be a fun event. Hopefully you guys can show out. Hopefully Nick can show up.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up and have a beer with you.
Guys, I cannot wait. And ladies and gentlemen, you got one part of this stretch done. You started this rough stretch with a W. You get one next week, you're going to feel unstoppable. And that was the main point of this 3-game stretch in 10 days, was to prove that to the NFL world that you are legit contenders. And you got one pelt on the wall and you need 2 more. Hell, 1 more. I'm considering the Houston Texans a contender. I don't know about you, Nick. Let's say this week against Kansas City, we go toe-to-toe with Kansas City. We win Kansas City with a Patrick Mahomes. How are you feeling about the Houston Texans?
I'm feeling really good, man. Going to Arrowhead and win on short rest. Like I said, I don't care how you shake it, man. That would be an excellent win. And
we go back from pretender to contender, in your opinion?
We're in the
We won 2 out of the 3. Remember what
we are said. Contenders. I don't think we would still be at the level of a Buffalo and Kansas City, but we got a puncher's chance at that point. You're like Rocky at fighting Apollo Creed at that point. Like, you got a chance, bro. You know what I mean?
If you beat Baltimore?
Then yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you beat them both in the regular season, I'm gonna feel like that might have been your dub. Because are you going to beat them twice? You're going to beat KC twice in the same season? Are you going to beat Baltimore twice in the same season?
Man, you see this, guys.
I'm asking a question.
It goes back to what I always
I'm asking a question.
It goes back to what I always bring up. No one is going to be truly convinced in this Houston Texans
until we see them do it, right?
Unless they win it, right? We just got proven right there by Nick. This whole month we were saying how we would feel if the Houston Texans won 2 out of the 3. Nick just said if we won these 2, so which be all 3, he still wouldn't be impressed. But that's just the way it goes, guys. That's just the way it goes. We're trying.
You would feel similar, right?
Huh?
You wouldn't care if they won those regular season games if they get stumped in the plaövs, right? So you would probably feel the same way, right?
If that happened, of course, but the fact that never mind. old takes become exposed. It's just the way it goes in sports media, guys.
All I'm saying, man, is I want to see.
Nick, man.
I want to see. I want to see the Houston Texans win 2 playoff games. That's what I'm hoping for. If they lose to the Chiefs in the regular season, but they win 2 playoff games, I'm not going to give a damn about that regular season loss. If they lose to the Ravens in the regular season, but they win 2 playoff games, I ain't going to give a damn about that loss. I want to see them win 2 playoff games. That's what I hope happens, for sure. But you're obviously going to be feeling better about the chances of that happening if they show up and show out in this next 2-game stretch. And then let's rest everybody versus the Titans because they're trash. Bro, I did have a lot of fun doing this episode with you as well. You guys, please go and check out that watch-along party at Tejas Brewery. And make sure you pull up on Ruben and show some love, man. I'm going to try to pull up on you. I'm going to have another beer with you. You're one of my favorite drinking buddies, so that'll be a good time. And I don't even need any camera time, bro. I just want to kick it with you guys and be in the circle.
That'll be great.
For sure. So, in the meantime, guys, like I said, we'll see you Friday on Ruben's channel, Tuesday on ESPN. We love you so much. In the meantime, you know what we want you to do. We want you to stay 10 toes down for the H. We love you and good night.